Uh-huh. Good morning.
Morning.
Okay, good morning. It's working. Yes, how are you feeling? How are you feeling?
Good.
Good.
Good. I'm not as big as a house yet, so
Oh,
I hear it gets worse.
all right.
But I'm still in that happy, glowy part.
Well, that's good.
Yep.
You can just go on and all that. Yeah. Because some people aren't so lucky. So yeah.
They're definitely lucky.
Yes. So are you
Have your
alone
coffee in
today?
here, honey. Sorry, what?
I said you're not alone today.
Oh, nope.
Oh, look who's coming. I believe that's Aaron. Yeah.
Wow, I look like a hot mess. How are you guys doing this morning?
Good. How are you?
Oh,
Yes.
good.
And you
Good.
got there. Roads are great, I hope.
They're not bad. 75 was good. Everything else was still a little dicey, but I have
Truly.
a big
Okay.
vehicle, so I was fine. I can drive through anything.
I bet you can. You've had practice. Yeah. Well, the snow plow has been by already this morning, and I live in a back area, which I'm
Oh.
surprised, but anyway.
That's
So they're
nice.
trying. Yeah.
Yeah. We
Oh,
are actually pretty fortunate. We have on the road that I live on, we have a guy from, I think he's from, like, he works for the city and he's got a huge plow truck. So our road is usually one of the first to get completely cleared. But then once you get to the end of the road, it's like, well, now I can't go anywhere from here. All right. Hey, Nicole, did you see my email?
On the trivia? Oh, did you send me one back?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, did you already have something?
I did some agricultural trivia. I pulled in honor of Mark Sunderman today, but yours sounded a lot more fun, so.
I don't know about that. I just scribbled it really, really fast.
All right, well, we can go with agricultural, I guess.
Okay, that works.
Sound good?
Yep, just don't let Mark answer them.
I know, I told him, I was gonna say he's got an unfair advantage, so we'll see.
Patrick, did you shave?
I was gonna say,
Oh,
it wasn't
We're stars too. I got a haircut on Monday, so I figured it's time to get ready for spring at the wrong time.
right. Well, it looks good.
how does it feel? Does it feel good to be shaved?
It's real cold when you're running a snowblower through 2 feet of snow.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I believe that.
I kind of volunteered my husband to just real quick snowplow the neighbors yesterday, the new neighbors, and about an hour and a half later, with the snow blower and the shovel and his snowplow, he was able to get done.
Aw. Well,
Then I
that's very
felt bad.
thoughtful of him.
I think I roped into it. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Talking about agriculture will make us feel like spring today.
There we go.
Yeah, we could use some green here pretty soon.
Yeah.
I told Nissa next year I'm bringing a backhoe home.
That's the way to do it. I like your style. All right, I'm gonna give another minute here and see who else joins us, and then we can go ahead and get started.
There's Nick. So we're growing in numbers, yeah.
Yeah. Yay.
Nick, you've got like a dreamlight state going on here.
Yeah, I have the blurred background on.
I like that.
For those of you who remembered, I invaded one of my kids' rooms to make an office. And I've been told that the yellow is an interesting color to stare at for a long period of time.
Huh.
So I blurred the background so it's not as intense.
I never thought it was bad. But what do I know? I'm not a designer.
Oh, look, there's Jeff.
All right. Well, welcome everybody this wonderful snowy morning. I appreciate everybody being able to join us. I think we'll probably get a few more that jump on here as we get started, but I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to get started, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, the four-way test, and a morning prayer. So, one second. There we go. Everybody see the flag? Good. All right, awesome. If you will all stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And our four-way test. Oh, I'm sorry. Morning prayer first. Heavenly Father, as we begin this day and we encounter challenges or busyness, help us to keep you first in our minds and actions. Help us to better discern your voice from all the other voices. Grant us the grace and wisdom we need to serve you today and to be a blessing for those you send our way. We love you and we pray that our actions throughout the day can reflect that. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. And then the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? All right. Thank you all. Let's see here. So it looks like we have 12 participants so far. We do have our guest speaker joined us today, Mark Sunderman from Legacy Farmers Co-op. Hi, Mark. We're very excited to hear what you have to share with us about what's going on in your world. Before we get to that, we are going to go through some fun trivia, and in honor of Mark joining us today, all the trivia questions that we have are agricultural. So Mark, you may have an unfair advantage, but feel free to participate. I'm going to go through all these. Mr. Matt Klein, our trivia guru, who normally does this, is not here with us today. So hopefully this will still be a fun one. I'll do the best I can to fill his shoes. And there are 7 questions total, so feel free to unmute yourself. Questions are out there for everybody. If you think you know the answer, just shout it out. So question number 1. Which fruit-bearing trees are classified as evergreens? I feel like I should have some Jeopardy music playing in the background or something. Nobody? All right. Citrus is the answer.
Really?
All right. Next question. Of all the vegetables, only 2 can live to produce on their own for several growing seasons without having to be replanted each season. What are they? I'll give you credit if you can get one.
Asparagus?
Ooh, nice. Good job, Nicole. That is one. Anybody else know number 2? It's a little more unique. Rhubarb.
Rhubarb.
So just so you know, those of you that don't have a green thumb, like myself, you want to plant vegetables. They're pretty hard. All right, number 3. What crop produces the most cash for American farmers every year?
Soybeans.
Nope.
No.
We couldn't hear the question. Can you say it again?
Question is, what crop produces the most cash for American farmers every year? It's going
Soybean,
to take on picnics and cookouts.
corn.
Corn.
Good job. Yep, it's corn. Thanks, Susie. All right, this is a fun one. What was the first fruit ever cultivated in the world? It happened sometime between 6,000 and 3,000 BC. Think Greek mythology.
Pomegranates?
No, but that's close. That's a good guess.
Grapefruit.
Nope. It was a fig.
Okay.
Isn't that fun? All right. Which number 5 state grows the most apples?
What state?
Which state? Yes.
Washington. Washington.
Yes. Awesome, Susie. You are
The farmer of the week.
leading us in this. Thanks. All right. The average American farm is over how many acres? It's in the hundreds.
The what? The average what?
The average American farm is over how many acres large?
Really depends on the state.
500.
Super close. I'll give it to you, Jeff. It's 400. All right, final question. Number 7. How heavy was the heaviest turkey ever raised? There's a big boy. No guesses?
75 pounds.
Close. This was shocking. 86 pounds. That is a big freaking turkey.
That would be a big family.
Yep. All right. Thank you guys for participating in that. All right, so let's go through and happy dollars for today. We will start with Mr. Chris Wren. Please share with us, what are you happy for today?
Well, I'm happy that we have a Fairfield Inn in Findlay, Ohio. That's what I'm happy about, because Monday night out here in the country land, out here at Red Hawk Run, Township Road 254 had drifts at least 3.5 feet high. When I was finally released from work at 12:47 a.m. by the Hancock County Sheriff's Department declaring a level 3 snow emergency, I got home from Route 224 to 254 to find a truck in the ditch, 2 cars already stuck. They'd been there since 9:00 p.m. And I, luckily, with a 4-wheel drive vehicle, did not get stuck. But I had to turn around. There was no way, even though I was only 1/10 of a mile from my house, and I could see my house waving at my house, I had to turn around and drive all the way back into Findlay and spend the night at the Fairfield Inn, 4 miles away from my house, because I could not get to my house Monday night. So that is why I'm very happy to have the Fairfield Inn 4 miles away from my house, so I could not have to stay in the Walmart parking lot in my car all night long. So
Oh my God.
thank you, Fairfield Inn. That's happy dollars.
I am glad you managed to find shelter. What a story. I hope you made it home by Tuesday then. Oh my goodness.
I even have better stories of the blizzard of 78, but I won't tell them right now. Most
You'll
of
have to
you,
share them at some point.
most of you were not born when I lived through those blizzards of 78, so I won't tell those stories. So there we
Okay.
go.
We'll hit you up for them another time though. I'm sure they're very entertaining.
Yes.
All right, Christina, how about you? What are you happy for today?
I'm just really happy for snow blowers because I think I'm a little too old to shovel anymore. That was a lot of snow.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Somehow my husband got the snowblower and I got the shovel, and I think I threw out my back. I'm definitely too old for that now. Jeff, Rachel, how about you? What are you happy for today?
Well, a week ago, I was in Utah and skiing in this lovely weather. And you know what? I just brought it back with me. So sorry.
So we have you to blame. Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. All right. Carrie, how about you? What are you happy for today?
Sorry. I am happy. My daughter goes to Ohio State and she came home this past weekend and didn't get back on time. So I am happy that Ohio State went to, they canceled classes and then they went to only online. So we'll see how hard it'll be for her to get back now.
Well, that's good. I'm sure it definitely made things a little bit easier for her. And didn't leave you worrying about her trying to get back there. So that's good. Laura, how about you? What are you happy for today?
I ordered a snow blower yesterday because I'm too old to shovel. So I've got one coming. And on a happier note, there was about 25 robins in my tree the other day, just like a whole bunch. And, you know, they still make me think of spring. So I was happy to see them.
Yeah, definitely. I hope that means it's closer around the corner than it feels right now. Lori, how about you? What are you happy for today? Oh, shows you're unmuted, but I can't hear you. Oh no. All right. We will come back to you if you get your sound figured out. Mark, how about you? You want to share something you're happy for this morning?
I'm happy to be here with you guys this morning and break up the monotony of every day.
We appreciate it. We are looking forward to hearing all the fun facts you have to share with us. All right, Nicole, how about you? What are you happy for today?
I am happy that even though I like winter, I like snow, I'd much rather be skiing in this stuff, but I am grateful that Danbury has a sign installer and I don't have to go out and put my new sign in tomorrow in this. So yay.
Yay.
And I owe Rick a big one.
Happy for you on that one. Nissa and Pat, how about you guys? What are you happy for today?
I am very happy that my husband was able to shovel the driveway and clear out the cars yesterday because I may not be too old to do it, but I'm definitely too pregnant.
Absolutely, you should not be doing that.
All the snow and the school cancellations kind of brought me back to middle school yesterday. And I know it's been weird with the COVID and everybody having to stay home. Now we're snowed in, but I always thought it was stupid when I was in middle school. I don't know if anybody remembers having the announcements read over the loudspeakers, but the principal at my middle school always ended the announcements with, "Make it a great day or not. The choice is yours." So with all that's going on, the choice is yours.
I like that. I'm going to have to remember that. Thanks. Susie, how about you? What's your happy dollar today?
Well, unlike Chris, I got up yesterday morning and I had time and I put on ski clothes, but unlike Jeff, I couldn't go skiing. My skis are someplace here, but it's cross country skis. Anyway, so I went outside, made a snow angel, watched my husband with the plow. So it was a great day.
That's really cool. Good for you. Is there anybody that I missed on Happy Dollars? All right, I'm gonna. Nick? Oh, I'm so sorry, Nick.
Look, I get it. It's just Nick. It's okay. All I was going to say was I was going to put a slightly different twist on the snow for a moment. And that slightly different twist was it reminded me how much kids enjoy large piles of snow. Because after I accumulated a literal 5-foot pile of snow from my driveway, my kids got sleds out and used it like a toboggan. And it was great, right? I mean, I was, swearing and complaining the whole time I made that pile. But the second the kids saw it, they were laughing. So it was a great twist on what was an agonizing beginning of the day.
Well, that's good. That sounds like a lot of fun. I'm glad your kids appreciated all your hard work too. So my happy dollar, sorry, Susie, I'm not a huge fan of country skiing. So I have tried to do it with my husband the last several years. And I love downhill skiing, but cross country skiing, to me, it's a lot of work with very little reward. And I just wind up falling over all the time. It's a disaster. So we sold our cross country skis at the end of last winter, and he kept saying over and over again this past week, oh, why did I get rid of those things? Why did I get rid of those things? And all I thought was, thank God we got rid of those things. So I was very happy about that. All right. Thank you everybody for sharing. Nick, I think the reason I missed you, FYI, is because there are 2 Aaron Zilkas in this meeting right now. You might need to change how your name is showing up in the participants. I appreciate you covering for me last week, but all right. So I'm going to jump into a couple items of club business really quickly before we hand it over to Mark to present to us today. So wanted to mention again really quickly, there is a One Rotary Summit planned for Saturday the 27th. It's 3 hours, 9 a.m. to noon. It's a free virtual event for anybody who wants to learn more about Rotary, the foundation, kind of what our history is built on. If you're anyone who is new to Rotary, it's a huge help with great information and kind of gets you excited to, I think, participate and be a greater part as a member of Rotary. So I think that'll be fun. If you have any questions, let me know. I can forward you the information of the speakers and kind of what's going to be discussed and talked about. Also, just again, to keep in mind, the Mesa Bike Rally, which right now is scheduled for September 17th through 22nd. It's open to all Rotarians and friends. I don't believe we have anything new on that topic right now. Susie, is that correct? Oh, you're still muted. Okay, all right. Nothing new at this point. Let us know if anything comes up though. The Derby Gala, I know Laura has been working and doing a lot of planning. She mentioned to me that she does have a meeting later this month with Lori Vance we're gonna kind of stay on top of what we need to do to make sure this event takes place. Things are gonna be changing. I think probably from week to week as far as the rules of what we need to do if we want to get together in a group. We're kind of bouncing ideas around about fun games that we can do without a whole lot of movement and tons of interaction, keeping people, at their tables and doing some social distancing and making sure that we're kind of watching and being attentive to all that. The one thing though that would be a huge help, she mentioned, was that still making sure that we are either purchasing $25 gift cards as donations or getting the $25 to her so that we can have the gift card board as something that we can raffle off. I know it's been a huge hit in the past, so if you haven't done that yet, please reach out to Laura and make sure that we do get that taken care of and we kind of get everybody checked off for that donation. We did have a board meeting yesterday. It was a really good board meeting. I can say that the topic of trying to get back to meeting in person was something that we discussed pretty extensively. I want to let you guys know we're super, I think that we're all anxious to get back to seeing each other and meeting in person, but we want to be um, cognizant and respectful of other people's comfort level and what is going on for everybody with their regular schedules still, with kids and school schedules. So what I am going to do, and what I want you guys to keep an eye out for, is I'm going to send out a poll again, like I did before, but it's going to be a single, just one question poll about whether or not you feel comfortable if we start working towards getting back to meeting in person. We're going to get back to what we would wind up doing is going back to the Hilton Garden Inn, because I think we got a lot of positive responses from meeting there, and it was a really nice setup. They did a great job for us. But I'm going to send the first one out by the end of this week, and then we're going to send it out again sometime in the middle of March, so we can kind of track interest level and see if we're gaining more participation and more members who are interested and more comfortable with getting back together, with our target date being sometime at the beginning of April, that maybe we would start getting back together then, just kind of watching and seeing as vaccines become more widely disseminated, as our cases in the county continue, the numbers continue to get lower and lower. We want to just see if people's comfort level with getting back together and meeting in person kind of improves over time, and if it makes sense on a cost versus participation level to make sure that it's something that we can kind of really put money towards again as a club. But I think it's a lot of fun when we can get together and see each other every Wednesday morning. So hopefully we can get back to that in the next couple of months. The last thing that I wanted to touch on really quickly, I didn't get a chance to ask you, Nicole, before we started. Do you still need a speaker for the 24th? Okay, so let's try to, if anybody has any ideas or you know of anybody that might be interested in presenting, otherwise we're going to probably try and tap a member to see if they want to do a member spotlight speaking presentation. But if you know of anybody, please let Nicole know, and we'll reach out to whoever we need to get settled for next week.
Erin, if I can say, it does help if it's somebody that's used to putting something together, because only having a week out, that's where I'm running into an issue now. And it was my fault. I was thinking I was good until late March and happened to see it and went, oh no. So.
No, you're good. We appreciate everything that you've been doing to get speakers scheduled. And certainly, you know, with everybody moving into this virtual venue, I think it's becoming more and more common. Sometimes it's helpful and we have presentations available, but I understand I don't want to ask somebody who doesn't, you know, they got to cram something together in a week before the speaking event. So completely understandable. And thank you so much for everything that you've been doing. It's been a lot of fun and we've had some great speakers. So on that note, we have got a great speaker we're excited for today. Nicole, would you like to introduce our speaker before we?
Sure will.
Awesome.
We have Mark Sunderman with Legacy Farmers Cooperative. He's the president and CEO. Legacy Farmers Cooperative is a full-service farm cooperative headquartered in Findlay, Ohio, and has 18 locations. Legacy provides grain, agricultural supply, and fuel service for farmers in 9 surrounding counties, as well as providing to the public retail fuel stations and retail lawn and pet store. Mark and his wife, Wendy, and their son, Luke, reside on the edge of Findlay. And so welcome, Luke, or welcome, Mark. Then I turn on Luke.
Thank you, Nicole. I'm happy to be here this morning. My plan today is just to give you a quick overview of who we are. A lot of people don't know who we are and exactly what we do, to give you a flavor of that, and then talk a little bit about where our grain goes, what it's used for, some of those things, because a lot of times people just like to know what locally things happen and go for. So, you know, Nicole mentioned a little bit about it, but we are a farmer-owned cooperative. We have about 2,200 local farmers who are members, so they own a share of stock in our company, and then we're governed by 9 board members who are elected from those members. We're based on co-op principles, and then we return profits back to our members based on the amount of business that they do. So a farmer owns a piece of us, and we use their investment as equity for our company to operate. We have employ about 150 full-time employees at our 18 different locations. And you don't have to be a farmer to do business with Legacy. And that's usually the misconception is, well, it's a farmer-owned cooperative, I have to be a member. And you don't have to. but members just enjoy the benefits of being part of a cooperative. We provide agronomy services, which is seed, fertilizer, crop protection products for farmers. Out of our Arlington, Arcadia, Macomb, Pandora, and Custer locations. We sell these products to the farmers and sometimes custom apply. You'll see our big rigs out in the field, sometimes spreading fertilizer or spraying. Certainly our employees there are certified and trained to do those type of things, as well as a lot of trucking services that we do. We also focus a lot on soil sampling in that part of our business and making sure we're applying the right products in the right places on the farmers' fields. And I'll talk a little bit about that as things come up here. Our agronomy sales annually are right around about $45 million worth of sales to our mainly our farmer members in there. So it gives you a little idea. Trust me, we're a high dollar, low margin type business. So 45 million sounds like a lot sometimes, but at the end of the day, we end up with just a little bit. We provide grain handling services out of 10 locations. 3 rail facilities include our Custer location up in Wood County, Fostoria, and our West Findlay facility, which is out by the stone quarry on the southwest side of town. That's where our rail facilities are. We'll talk about where we ship some of that. And then we have truck facilities in Mount Quarry, Mount Blanchard, East Findlay, Mortimer, our big facility in Mortimer, Macomb, Shawtown, and our Deshler facility. We do have about 20 million bushels worth of grain storage, and our annual sales are right around $150 to $200 million in grain. And we talked, Erin had her trivia question on the biggest crop, and I would say our biggest dollars for legacy is the actual dollar crop is soybeans here locally, but of course corn yields and is planted across most of the Midwest and fed, exported, used for ethanol, those type of things. So obviously the volume of corn is significant. And then we provide fuel to farmers and the public. We have 2 fuel stations, one on State Route 12 here at our office, just on the east side of Findlay, and then one in Fostoria, which is right at the corner of where ADM, Manel Milling, and Legacy Farmers elevators reside. And those are 24/7. We don't have attendance there, but we take all major credit cards, or you can have a legacy card. If you have a legacy card, you get billed by us, but you also get a discount when you go through there because we don't have to pay credit card fees. So some of those things are nice for our public. And then we also deliver fuel to homeowners, businesses, and farms, as well as oil, grease, lubricants, those type of things. And then finally, our lawn and pet business, which is our retail business, which is here, also located here at the corner of State Route 12 and County Road 236. Do about $3.5 million worth of lawn and pet food sales, bulk salt, and grass seed, feed, pond products, bird seed. Bird seed was nuts on Monday. You would have thought the birds were all going to starve because it was just lined up, and then a lot of salt business. And we actually will have somebody on staff most of the time when it's going to be a day like it was yesterday, and they load salt all night for people that are landscaping companies and people that are clearing roads and stuff like that. So we try to cater. We're a farmer business, so the expectation typically is you need to be there when we need you to be there. So we're pretty good at flexing and doing things for our potential customers and our customers. We talk a little bit about the economic state of local agriculture. Most of you would remember 2019. It rained all spring. Very little bit of the crop was planted. Certainly it was a challenge for us. It was really a disaster. I've never seen anything like it. I've been in the business over 25 years. And we planted 30% of the corn crop, and most of that was planted well after when crop insurance was really available to protect anybody, but people had to plant the crop to have livestock feed, things like that, so they planted it late. Or they didn't have crop insurance and they planted it because they needed to have something on their farm ground. And then we planted about 70% of the soybeans that year. So our volume was down significantly, so was the farmers. So the economic downturn in 19 was a big losses, big income losses for not only us as Legacy Farmers Cooperative, but also our farmer members. So we were looking at 2020 as a rebound year. We got into the spring of that. Of course, the pandemic hit. When the pandemic, farmers that had grain to sell, or even us that had inventory, our markets disappeared. Ethanol plants pulled bids. We dropped what our ability to sell. We usually make 10 to 20 cents a bushel on bushels that we handle. That's the margin that we can get. And when the markets disappear, you lose that opportunity. So it was definitely detrimental to not only our customers, but also us. And as even 2020, but we had a great spring this past year. Farmers got all their crops in, making up for lost time with all the rain we had in 19. And then we had a normal harvest this fall. So things are starting to turn around. We're getting back on pace. And I think the farmers and agriculture, with the commodity price rebound in the last 3 or 4 months, corn, and if you pay attention to that at all, corn and soybeans have increased 20, 30, 40% over the past couple months. So it's given the agriculture a much better look at what the future holds. So we're kind of excited to maybe getting back to normal. The last 4 months have felt more normal in our office. The prior 18 months have felt just, what are we going to do type stuff. So everybody's got smiles on their faces. They're excited about what the future holds. So hopefully we can get that to turn around. Our farmers produce corn, soybeans, and soft red winter wheat. That's what we handle for them from a crop standpoint. In a normal year, we'll sell and ship 2.5 million bushels of soft red winter wheat, 15 million bushels of corn, and 10 million bushels of soybeans. So a lot of people always want to know what our grain goes to. What does our local grain go to? And so I had our merchandiser pull up what we've shipped since September 1st of this past year, and where it went to and what it was used for. So we shipped just under 1 million bushels of wheat since September 1st, gross value of about $4.5 million. Some of that wheat went to Manel Milling in Fostoria, as well as a rail point for them that's in West Point, Virginia. Things that wheat is used for after it's milled or floured: Pop-Tarts, Little Debbie snack cakes, a gold medal pancake flour, and McDonald's uses it in some of their breads. So some of the local wheat that's grown here, that's where you'll find it. So if you're eating any of those products, that's always interesting. We also ship some to Kraft and Nabisco in Toledo, and anything that's a Kraft name or a Nabisco name may or may not have our local wheat in it. Star of the West Milling in Willard, and this is my favorite, Goldfish. So the Goldfish crackers that you see, that most likely has some of local wheat grown here that Legacy Farmers ship to them and our local farmers produce. So that's always good. Soybeans, we shipped 8.9 million bushels since September 1st, gross value of 107 million. ADM obviously has a crush plant in Fostoria. If you've ever been through there, it's when you're going between the golf course and ADM, you smell that crush smell a lot of times if the wind's blowing the right direction, and you say they're processing soybeans for oil and meal. Meal obviously is used in feed rations. The oil can be used for cooking or other things, other products that they put in. So we ship a lot of beans to them there, as well as their Valdosta, Georgia plant on the railroad, on the Norfolk Southern Railroad. Bunge, we ship a truck to Bellevue or their crush plants. Purdue Farms, we rail to Norfolk, Virginia to their crush plant, or even this year, a lot of beans were exported to other countries, including China or Europe. Purdue Farms also uses that meal in helping produce in their chicken feed rations. So if you're eating Purdue chicken, most likely either some of the beans, or I'll talk a little bit, or some of our corn was used to feed those chickens. Corn, we've shipped 5,387,000 bushels since September 1st for a gross value of 26 million. Poet, Guardian ethanol plants here locally sometimes get that corn. Kalmbach Feeds in Upper Sandusky would be a delivery point sometimes for our local to go into their feed rations. Pennsylvania Grain Processing, or PGP is what we call it, which is in Clearfield, PA. They make ethanol more for the East Coast over there, and so we'll ship rail over to that location. Case Farms for poultry, Sanderson Farms for poultry, Smithfield Farms for hogs, and Purdue Farms for poultry. So all in all, since September 1st, we've shipped 15 million bushels of corn out of here locally, whether it's truck or rail, and a gross value of $138 million worth of products from our customers. So those are always kind of nice things to share because they bring, think about them goldfish. Everybody eats those goldfish every once in a while, so that's pretty cool. Couple other things just to talk about initiatives that we might have. Obviously, the water quality, the algal bloom in Lake Erie, some of those things really have gotten our industry kind of a I don't know, you want to call it a black eye, or fingers are pointed at farmers and saying, hey, you're the one causing this problem. And you know what? I think we all have some sort of input into that, whether it's farming, municipalities, whatever the case may be. We're not going to say we don't have something in it. We're just going to continue to work to try and help rectify the situation. And that's how Legacy has focused on it. We put a big focus on water quality, making sure we're following the best management practices for soil testing, making the right recommendations for fertilizer applications and applying fertilizer so it stays on our fields, so our crops can use it for our farmers can use it for their crops uptake and produce a good crop. We've been doing this soil management for over 20 years. Not all others have been maybe a little slower to adopt, but I can tell you here at Legacy for over 20 years, we've been trying to follow best management practices when we do that. In 2014, we worked on a pilot program for our certification program, and we were one of 3 ag retailers in this Lake Erie watershed to be certified. So we go through an audit to prove that we're following best management practices that were put together by the universities here, and saying, this is what tri-state fertilizer guidelines are. We want to make sure we're keeping the crop on the field and not putting it into the streams or the lake. That certification program encourages ag retailers, service providers, and other certified professionals to adopt proven best practices through the 4 R's. And when we say the 4 R's, it's the right source of nutrients at the right rate at the right time and putting it in the right place. And this approach is a science-based framework for plant-based nutrition. So we're trying to do the best that we can do. Our members are, I would say over 80% of all fertilizer that we put on fields follows exactly this variable rate type application and incorporation. And over time, that continues to grow. I would say 10 years ago, that was at 25 to 30 or 40%. So we continue to see best management practices being adopted and followed, of course. And we just want to make sure, why do we want to do that? Well, the farmer doesn't want to pay for fertilizer that they're not using. I mean, you don't want to go to the grocery store and buy stuff and then not eat it. It's the same thing. Farmers going to spend money to put something on their field. They want to make sure it stays there. So they're doing a great job at following those practices. Our biggest challenge today, told Nicole I was going to share a little bit about what our biggest challenges were today, and it's probably some of the things that everybody else is facing as well. Finding labor is a huge problem for us right now. We've had different jobs posted over and over and over. In some locations, we can't even get applicants. We hear a lot about unemployment, but it's been just a real struggle for us to continue to find labor to operate our business. The second thing is in ag, I think the challenge is just efficiency. Everything costs more, inflation on equipment and people and all those things. Is how do we have enough size and scope in a high volume, low margin business to continue to meet the customers' needs, and also continue to focus on the water quality. So those are some of the things that we're challenged with today, and we're doing a lot of strategic planning, trying to figure out where we need to go, because the farmers are changing, and we need to make sure we're there as well. So with that, I don't really have any other things on the docket there, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Hey, Mark, do you have to be a member to buy the fuel there?
No, you do not. No, you do not. We have, in fact, I would say 82% of our fuel business is non-member business. So it's either in businesses that aren't in agriculture. So we sell a lot of fuel to businesses, trucking companies. And then our stations are credit card operated or even legacy card operated. And you don't have to be a member to have a legacy card to get the discount either. But yeah, our fuel business is 82% of it is non-member.
Okay, all right. I know you keep the squirrels in my neighborhood very healthy with the squirrel corn and also the suet for the birds. So thanks for that. I come to you guys all the time.
One thing I might add is, when the pandemic hit, one of the things that we did was a couple years earlier, we had worked on an online portal where you could order online and pick up at the store. And that really took off. I mean, obviously nobody was going into businesses for a while. We were able to still operate, but people would order online or call ahead and then just drive in our drive-through, open their trunk, and we would just load it up for them. So you wouldn't have to have people in our store. So we actually had an opportunity. It's not a big part of our business, but that lawn and pet store really thrived during that time, and our online business has picked up tremendously since.
I noticed the one time that I was in there that I used to use Scott's lawn fertilizer for my yard and everything. And one time I was in there and I noticed the board on the back that had the lawn, all the fertilizer and everything else for the parts of the summer and everything. So probably about 3 years ago, I switched over to you guys, and I don't have to pay the cost of the Scott's name, at least anyway, and still get a great product out of it. So I use Legacy quite often, actually. So maybe I should become a member.
We appreciate your business.
Thanks.
Hey, Mark, could you talk about the relationship of the typical farmer and renting farmland as far as how they go about that? Most people think, the family farm today is, you go out and you just farm the acreage that's right around your house, and that's about the farthest thing from the truth. I gave a little talk to my Rotary Club. My family, my original family on my dad's side are farmers up in North Dakota. They farm about 9,000 acres up in North Dakota, which is pretty typical up there. I mean, they just have gigantic rented land that they just farm thousands and thousands of acres. But around here, obviously, nobody does that. But could you talk about that renting of land and how that process works real quick?
Yeah, I would say that I don't know the exact numbers, but probably most of the land that farmers farming, 50%, in our area, I bet 50% of it they don't own. They have a rental agreement with the landowners of that farm, and it might have been somebody that inherited land and they don't want to farm it, but they rent it out for that. And they'll do it two different ways. One will be they'll pay a cash rent in a year, and they'll say, okay, I'm going to pay you $188 an acre for those 40 acres for this next year, and then I'm going to farm it. And then the landowner receives that $180 from the customer or the farmer, and the farmer then plants the crop on that and harvests it, and reaps whatever they get between all their other costs there. There's also another way that some of our landowners and farmers mesh, and that's they'll farm on shares. So they might farm farmland, and they'll split the input costs, all the costs to produce the crop, at 50%. I'll just use that for an example. They're not all set up that way. And then the farmer will get 50% and they'll share in what the inputs are, the seed, the fertilizer, the chemicals, whatever they need to do to grow the crop. And then when the crop is harvested, each side gets, the landowner gets 50% of the crop that's taken to town, and the farmer does. And so that's really how those two type of relationships go. But I would say most farmers don't own more than 50%. Some own 100%. But if you're going to be a large farmer, you really can't have all that money tied up in 3,000 or 4,000 acres to farm. And we have customers that farm 9,000 acres. That's about as large as it gets, and there aren't very many of those. But most farmers are farming 1,500 acres or so. I think that's if you're going to have more than one farmer on being part of the business. You got a son or a brother or something like that. You've got to farm almost 50 in the type of crops we grow. You got to almost farm 1,000 to 2,000 acres to be efficient, make it go to afford.
Aaron, this is Carrie. I have a question for him.
Yeah, go ahead.
As a landowner, Mark, what do you suggest? Is there a better way for a crop share versus the land rental, or does it depend on the acreage? Or
it depends on your appetite for risk. So if you want to be part of growing the crop and you want to pay for some of those expenses, then you're also going to take on, is it going to rain? What type of yield are you going to get out of the field? And so you're taking on the risks that a farmer takes on every year. If you want to just have a guaranteed income, then you cash rent it, and then they write you a check every year. So I think you have a better opportunity to possibly make more money if you're willing to take on the risk. It's like nothing else, like the stock market, right? If it's a little riskier, Aaron, it's a little riskier investment. You got a bigger reward, but you also have more, you have a better chance for maybe a loss. And so it just depends on what you want to do. We have both. We have a lot of both that you see. Some people don't want to have to worry about if it's going to rain next week or if you're going to get the crop planted. They just want to make sure that they have a guaranteed income off the land. And other ones want to be part of the process and feel like they're farming, even if they might not have the equipment to do it, and get to be part of the decision-making process. So it's really whatever risk appetite you have and how much you want to be involved.
Is there an average rental rate in Hancock County?
It depends on, is the field tiled? What's the drainage? What kind of soil is in it? There's an awful lot of things that go into it, because some fields are high potential, high yielding because of what's in what type of soil it is. And other ones may be clay, don't drain real well, and so the opportunity for yield is less. So it really kind of depends on what type of yield potential is on that farm, on what kind of value it can bring. And sometimes there's like cash rent auctions, and five or 10 farmers will show up and bid on what they're willing to pay for that ground for 1, 2, or 3 year contracts or stuff like that as well.
All right, thank you.
I have a question about farm labor. You said that there was a need for that. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So I'm thinking of all these immigrants that have come to our nation, and that might be a possibility, but is it an all year round job, or is it just seasonal?
So locally, when it comes to being on the farm, depends on how the operation is set up. A lot of times it's a seasonal type position when it comes to what a farmer needs help for. Obviously right now they're doing a lot of planning, but you can only wrench on so much equipment in the wintertime and get that done. When we look at legacy farmers itself, in our cooperative, in our business with 150 employees, those are full-time jobs. So those are people that we're looking for to work for us 12 months out of the year and do different things for us and do a lot of training. But when it comes to farm labor, a lot of times the guys will find neighbors or young kids wanting to understand and learn how to run equipment, do those things, that's their best avenue to try and find people in the short term.
Okay.
But
Thank
you
you.
know,
Thank you.
we'll hire anybody for 12 months out of the year if they want to come. You know, if they're willing to learn and work hard and understand, and we'll train them. You know, we're always looking for good people that'll show up for work, every single day. You know, on time. Those types
There are
of
I
lots
was
of
going to say
businesses
really
like
quickly
that. Yeah.
on that
Thank
note, I can attest to Legacy Farmers and what great care they take of all their employees, the benefits that they offer. They really put employees first and make it a high priority. So if anybody does know anyone who's interested in getting into that field and learning about it, I think, Mark, you guys have an incredible setup, an incredible operation there. And the employees that work there, everybody has nothing but great things to say. And that's hard to find. So that's a huge compliment to you guys and how you operate.
Thanks, Aaron.
Mhm.
Hey, Mark, if I can ask kind of a shout out, you made a shout out to the Pepperidge Farm goldfish from my hometown of Willard, Ohio. Had plenty of people on those lines that I've known. But kind of a throwback to the farm labor that Susie talked about, just because I spent a lot of summers in the muck farms outside of Willard,
Sure.
working in the summer. Do we have much along those lines of produce kind of things in Hancock County or within Legacy's? I know I've seen tomatoes and things grown even next door to me. So I was just curious how much of that you see around here outside of corn, soybeans, and wheat.
We're seeing a little bit more. Of course, as we go over towards Pandora, there's a lot more tomatoes grown, so that's a little bit of a different crop. And we do a lot of work with tomatoes. There's local pickle farms now, and some, you know, they don't take up huge amounts of acres, but there's definitely different produce that's in our area that we might take care of on our agronomy type of business, where we're making sure the pickles stay okay, or melons or things like that, but it doesn't take up a lot of acres. So it's a little smaller piece of the acreage. I don't know, we don't handle those as far as the crop coming off. We certainly are part of some of that production. We don't have Celeryville though. We just don't have that area.
A lot of summers in Celeryville.
When I first moved to Hancock County, Mark, I always ask the farmers around here, these vegetable crops like celery, tomatoes, etc. They always said, well, go out to Putnam County. They have got good dirt out of Putnam County, good dirt around Fremont, and good dirt around Willard. That's where you're going to find those kind of crops. Here, all we grow is beans and corn. That's it. That's all we grow.
Right.
Too much clay in the soil. That's what they always told me. So
yeah, a lot of that is, well, you talk about the muck ground, and it's just real nutrient rich ground, and that, that's where they grow more of the vegetables.
It's very black and it washes out of nothing.
Pat, did you have a question for Mark?
We just used a lot of the fuel. I got a construction business over in Fostoria, so thanks for being there. I guess I wanted to say, if you get tired of the songs and the advertising at the pump, they don't have that at Legacy, and it's you have a nice quiet fueling experience. It's just fine. Yeah. But I did have a question. We deal a lot with tonnage and cubic yardage and stuff like that, but how do you measure a bushel, Mark?
Okay, a bushel is normally a bushel is 56 pounds of corn, weighs up to be a bushel, and 60 pounds of soybeans weighs up to be a bushel, and 60 pounds of wheat weighs up to be a bushel. Now it's actually the spec fits in a bushel basket, and that's how many pounds that bushel basket holds if it's the perfect specification for that crop, and that's how it's a volume type thing. But on average, it's 56 pounds of corn and 60 pounds of soybeans and wheat.
It's a fun fact. I did not know that. Awesome. Does anybody else have any questions for Mark? I have one final question. When Carrie was mentioning as a landowner, trying to figure out the best way to rent the land, do you guys offer any services for like soil analysis, or do you have someone that you would refer to help out a landowner determine, you know, how much yield would be possible based on the soil that they have available that they're looking to rent out?
Yeah, what you could do, I mean, we take soil, we have a precision ag division really at Legacy that's what they do 100% of the time is they go out and they'll take soil samples and say here's what here's what this crop, what kind of type of crop can be produced. It'll show the contours. We can do it on 1 acre grids all the way to 20 acre grids and just kind of show what the field looks like from a soil analysis type thing. That would show what yield potential is there or in what fertility is there, because sometimes guys will draw down and not put fertilizer on and draw down that soil analysis to where you have to add a little bit more to make sure you can grow a good crop. So the key would be is to understand what your field can produce, where it's at in that stage of its life. And we certainly would be able to show some of that value, especially if somebody was wanting to understand what type of value it is. That's not what we do a lot of for landowners, but we certainly we can provide services for that.
Awesome. Thank you. That's good to know. That's very helpful. Any other final questions before we let Mark go and get on with his day? No? All right. Well, thank you so much, Mark, for the information. We really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for joining here today. And let's go, make it a great day or don't. It's your choice. All right. I'll see you guys later. Have a good day.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Bye.